Legion!
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Okay, thanks for coming back. So how many people, no, seriously, I know that she asked how many people were partying, but how many people really were at a party last night? Raise your hand. Like, everyone else that wasn't is just not, everyone else that was isn't here. I guess that's what happened. Because somehow I missed the invitation to the party. I started the beer up like at 6:30, but I think I was in bed by 7:15 or so I missed the whole thing. But anyway, great to have you back. Esther started the first day talking about creation. We started the second day talking about innovation, and today is all about growth. So today's all about growth. And if you remember the way that I started the opening keynote 2 days ago, I talked about three things that I would love for you to get out of the event. The first was a little bit of inspiration, and hope that's happened. The second was a little bit of imagination, for you to imagine and actually do things, take things back and use them back in the office. And the third was interaction. So this morning, I'm honored to get to host a panel. And the panel's we're going to talk all about growth. And we've got some great panelists. But before we start, I want to play a game. Everyone ready for a game? Okay, now all of y'all in the back that you think it's safe, it's not. Okay, so everyone put down anything in your hands and stand up. Okay, so have you ever heard of the game strip poker? No, just kidding. Have you ever? I didn't plan to say that. Have you ever heard of the game rock, paper, scissors? Okay, does everyone know how to play? Okay, rock, paper, scissors. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is to turn to someone close to you and play one practice round of rock, paper, scissors. Okay? Find someone and play one practice round, and then stop. Okay, now that you're all warmed up, how many of you are sweating? You're sweating because that was such hard work. So now that you're all warmed up, okay, stop. Shh. Okay, now that you're all warmed up, we're going to do this for real. Okay, so with the same person, you get one shot, okay? And if you win, you find someone else who's still standing. Okay, if you lose, you sit. Okay, so we're going to play rounds until we have some people left standing, and then I'll say stop, and then you stop. Everyone know how we're doing? If you win, you stay standing and find someone else. If you lose, sit and observe the craziness. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, play. Okay, keep going. Those standing, find someone to play with. 5? Yeah. Okay, it's getting smaller. The group's getting smaller. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, stop. Everyone standing. Stay standing. Who's standing? Everyone standing. Your job now is to make your way to the stage. Everyone, give them a round of applause. Oh, hey. I saw a bunch of people sit down. Hey, guys, hold on. Now, just so you know, if you come to the stage, there are prizes. Okay, so those of you that sat down because you're shy, like, I need people on the stage that are the winners. Come on up. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, yes, look at this. Great, great, great group. Now, I just have to do one thing. There's a woman out here that I saw sit down when I said to come on stage. Who is it? Someone over here. Oh, you came up. Oh, thank you. I was like, you're not going to get out of this. Okay, so let's see what we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Picture. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, sir, you sit in that chair. Yes, you just sit. Now, how many males do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which means we have 7 females. So the females win. Round of applause for the females. Okay, now, you and you will be playing. You two will be playing. You'll be playing. You and you. You'll be playing. You two will be playing. And you two will be playing. Okay? So when I count to 3, actually, when you guys count to 3, 1 round. If you lose, you come off the stage. If you win, you stay on the stage. You guys ready? Okay, ready and go. 1, 2, 3. If you lose, oh, you're tied. You have to play again. If once you lose, you leave the stage. Congratulations. I mean, we seem to have some issues. This shouldn't take that long. This is like HR policies. We have customizations, not configurations. Did anyone lose? All the losers, let's go back to your seats. If it's a rock and a paper, the paper covers the rock. So the paper wins. Yes. So you lose. Yes, thank you for playing. Okay, so if we... there were 12 people playing, which means we should have 6 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's up, guys? Who won? You won? Oh, you think you won? Okay, round of applause. Do you think she won? Do you think he won? Okay, ma'am, you're the winner. Sir, you're off the stage. Okay, now you can join. Okay, now, you're not playing. You two play, you two play, and you two play. On the count of 3. Ready? No. You. Yeah, you're not playing. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Tie. Do it again. Rock beats scissors. Yes, you're done. Congratulations for playing. Thank you for playing. Thank you for playing. Paper covers rock. You win, you lose. Thank you for playing, sir. Okay, now look at the gender. What do we have? 3 women and 1 man left on the stage. How do you feel to be the token gentleman? Okay, now, you two are going to play 1 game. You just watch. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Rock beats scissors. Congratulations. Now you two. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh! You did paper, she got scissors. That means she cut you. That means you're gone. Okay, now look at the gender. 2 women. Woo! Okay, now, you two, there have to be 2 winners, yes. But there has to be 1 winner, 1 grand winner. Okay, so let's see. We have Isha, and Anu. Brilliant. Okay, give them a round of applause. Okay, 1 game for all the marbles. Okay? On the count of 3, you guys play. We'll see who wins. Ready? Give them a round of applause. Give them a round of applause. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Paper covers rock. Congratulations, Isha. You're the grand winner. Okay, now, for both of you guys, you both get Amazon gift certificates. So congratulations. Thanks for playing. Yes, thank you for playing. You may be seated. Thank you guys so much for playing. That was just a little of my fun interaction this morning. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So, everyone's awake now? Do we need any breathalyzers? Everyone's good? Okay, I'm going to turn it back to our brilliant MC, and then I'll be right back to do the panel in a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Jason. Jason, you completely woke us up. Thank you very much. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm actually going to go ahead and welcome our opening panel, ladies and gentlemen. This morning, please welcome Chris Havrilla, President, Havrilla LLC. William Tincup, President, Recruiting Daily. Amita Maheshwari, President and Head HR, Star India. And Abhijit Bhaduri, founder, Abhijit Bhaduri and Associates. Ladies and gentlemen, these are our panelists. They're going to mull over the future of work, human innovations, or system intelligence. And of course, joining us is Jason, once again. Jason, that's yours.
Okay, great, guys. Thanks for playing that game. I'm sweating. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining me. This is the panel that I've been looking forward to the most of the whole session, because these guys, I know most of them. Well, I know all of them, actually, but some of them I know better than the other. And they all have very, very, very interesting / controversial ideas on some of the topics that we're going to talk about. So what I want to do is I want you guys to think about growth. And I want you to think about growth from the standpoint of mindset, like we talked about on day one, and what are you going to do to be able to take back? So you've seen a lot of stuff. You've seen AI. You've seen core HR systems. You've heard people talk about mindset. You've heard people say, it's our time, all that stuff. But like, what are you actually going to take away to say, hey, I attended this conference and I learned so much? So what I want to do is I want to have each panelist start by introducing themselves and talk 1 minute about this thing called future of work. Because we all talk about future of work, but like the future of work is now, maybe. The future of work is also going to be in the future. So I'd love to just start. I'm going to have each person talk for a minute. Once again, remember, use the app and ask questions, please, because we're going to take some questions. There may be prizes. The prizes seemed to work last time, so there may be prizes for those that use the app. So I'm going to start with William. William, I'd love to just hear you talk about what you think the future of work is.
So I'll start off by saying, Alexa, who's overperforming, underpaid, and would like to relocate to London? Right? So
overpaid, underperforming, me? That's me. No, just kidding.
Flip that. Yeah. So, you know, on some level we have to, because of the consumer technologies, we have to consider that our worlds are changing, right? Is it today? Probably not. But is it a large part of our tomorrow? Yeah, I think it is, actually. So we have to consider interacting with enterprise software in a way that we've never interacted with it. We're custom, and for the last 20 years, whether or not it's been on-prem or SaaS, we've been interacting with enterprise software the same way. And I think that one of the changes, there's going to be many, especially from this panel, one of the changes we're going to have to interface with is how we go about our daily interface with enterprise software. Is it going to be touch? Is it going to be voice? It probably won't be a mouse. It probably won't be those things. So I think that, yeah, I think that we have to think about Siri and Alexa and consumer technologies and what's going on, because our kids are already comfortable with technologies like that. And we're not, to a large degree.
Thanks, William. And as you can see, more people talking about touch in HR. Always fascinating to me. Let's move on to the next.
Introduce yourself. I think
yeah,
people
yes.
would want to know more about you.
Yeah, you forgot. Who are you? Now that you're talking about touching.
I'm all about compliance. William Tincup. I'm actually from Arlington, Texas. I've been in this space for about 20 years, somewhere around HR and technology. So,
Thank you. Amita?
Hi, I'm Amita Maheshwari, head of HR for Star TV. It's been over 9 years now. I have almost around 23, 24 years experience in HR space with very, very diverse industries. The only thing which has been common in those companies have been the really fabulous growth journey we have taken across all the companies I've worked with. I'm a mother of two, so it's like multiple roles which you have to play at one time. And really, I've been thinking about this future of work, and I was just doing a bit of research yesterday, and I was amazed to see the amount of research and work and articles being written on it. And I said, this is really not new. This has been a concern over centuries with mankind. Whenever machine has come into any time in our life, we have always wondered what will happen to humans. Will the machine take away work? But honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. As a person, I support development, and I really think that the jobs will stay. There may be some which will go away, but it will change shape. And I have full faith and belief in versatility and resilience of humans to take that change journey, adapt, and run with it. So if for example, and past is the proof for it. Look at when computer came, it was the same concern that whether people will have jobs. But now look at the millions of people working in software, in IT, in data, analytics, and all related area. So I really think that it's a good concern, because if we are concerned, we will do something about it and look at adapting and changing ourselves. But really, it's not a concern which we should fret about and be, worried about. It's a concern we should really look at, adapt, and change.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a brilliant point, and that's the whole concept of how do we work with machines, not be worried about machines, but how do we work with machines to make our jobs better, I think is going to be the interesting thing. Chris?
Chris Evrilla. I used to introduce myself as a consultant, and then after a certain amount of eyes rolling back in their head, I just kind of say I'm a talent and technology whisperer now. So that's
a
what
whisper,
I do.
a whisperer.
I'm a whisperer.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can kind of help me spread the word on that. I have some. I think my view on the future of work is really more rooted in the fact that we're actually going back to some basics. We're focusing on people and experience and having technology. I love hearing some of the stuff about, we're going to be working for machines, and I actually think the machines are going to work for us now. I think we've been working for machines for a long time. So I think the future of work is getting away from the machines and not feeding the beast and data entry and feeding forms and screens and leveraging technology in a better way to do those transactions and to do all the processing and culling of data and really focusing on doing work and adding value and building relationships, talking to people, and solving problems, making some decisions. That's what I really think the future of work's about. I don't think it is about job loss. I think it's about transaction loss. We're not going to be doing all this grunt work, that we're actually going to be adding value.
So maybe using humans for what they're really capable of doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Will there be job loss? Yes, but I think there's going to be tremendous more job gains if we're willing to start learning. And if we're willing to open ourselves up for that, you know.
I like the way you said that. If we're willing to start
Yeah,
learning.
we've got to start doing that.
Abhijit?
I am Abhijit Bhaduri.
Now you're last. That means you have to create some friction here.
So what should I say? That there will be job loss.
Everyone else is
So
wrong.
you're all wrong.
You're all wrong.
Okay, you are all wrong. So I work with organizations. I work with the HR teams, helping them reimagine the whole notion of what work is and therefore what HR should be and could be. Sometimes I work with organizations on their digital transformation. Either it's about building capability, but mostly about working on culture and leadership. So that's what I do. When it comes to, this whole thing of when you look at the change that's happening, future of work, working, and workers, all three are changing. So therefore, if you look at it, work, as we define it, is going to get severely impacted by machines. And yes, it's true that there will be some job loss. But if you look at the real data, ITES and telecom, in the last 2 years, there's been a complete bloodbath, at least in India, if you sort of look at it. A lot of the people have not really landed on their feet. And therefore, this whole myth that, there will be, job loss, but we will end up doing something. Yes, it's true that some, anything which I kind of think about it as Citius, Altius, Fortius, faster, higher, stronger machines can do that. But when you look at the nature of jobs, is a huge amount of upskilling. So that's really the barrier. Working, where I work from, how I work, how long I work, what is constituted work. If you sort of look at that, it's defined by employers could be apps, employers could be websites, employers could be, other than, the traditional large employer, those guys are all getting away. I mean, if you look at Apple becomes a $1 trillion organization, and then you also have a GE which is getting disintegrated. It was the original starting point of Dow Jones. The final piece is about just this whole notion of who is a worker. That also has changed, because you sort of say that the growth of the gig workers, or the kind of people who are digital migrants. There's a whole new category of stuff which has come up. There's for whom you don't have either policies, you don't have insurance, you don't have, and yet on the other hand, you see that countries like Estonia have created digital nomad visas. So you see a very uneven distribution of the future, and that I think is the interesting element of the future of work.
Yeah, I love that. Do you guys hear the work, the worker, and working, all changing? I think that's really, really important. It's not just one of those components.
Nailed it.
So, guys, just so you know, I moderate panels all over the world, and my questions for these guys are stupid compared to the questions that you guys are putting in the app. So, of course, my script is already ruined. William, like you said.
I'm shocked at it.
Shocked by that, right?
Shocked. Shocked and amazed.
Seriously. Shock and all. Shock. The questions are coming in left and right, including would we need HR at all? And someone saying, I love William's shoes. So we have a little of everything. We have a little of everything coming in on the app.
Appreciate that.
I think that this point, this one point, I'd like you guys just to go really, really quick on it. What does HR need to do to prepare for the future? I'm going to start with Chris. Just, because that's a lot of the questions are coming in about that as well. So what do you think HR needs to do?
Well, I think we need to lead the change. And when I say that, it sounds lovely, but getting rid of bureaucracy, inertia, this not changing, and understanding that we lead a function that leads revenue and growth. If we are taking care of people's experience and leading through that, showing people how to change, showing people how to learn, doing all of these things, when we create people's experiences, we're going to lead to happy customers. When we start helping people understand that their jobs are not about tasks, that it's about making the customer happy, that's your goal. If you're a recruiter, it's not to fill X number of jobs. It's to help make the customer happy. How are you going to do that? You're going to find people that care about what the customer cares about. You know, those are the things that we have to do, and we have to lead through that change. We absolutely play a huge part in the revenue and growth of these companies. But we do that by helping business understand that conscious capitalism is the way to go. For taking care of our stakeholders, the revenue, the growth, all of that comes with it. So we need to embrace that and do it.
That's great. Abhijit?
So I think, HR needs to get out of, this whole thing of process obsession to really being able to design experiences. And therefore, I think the kind of mindset with which you design an experience is very different from how you design a process. You know, it's a lot more linear. Experiences are a lot more fuzzy, and you need different definitions. And I was giving the example yesterday of the fact that Netflix doesn't use demographics at all. I mean, it looks at something like taste clusters, and those are being used to categorize people. Effectively, I think, a lot of, even if you, as you sort of go around the stalls, all of them, there is technology for the recruiter, there's technology for, the employer, there's technology for the provider. There's very little that is actually looking at the human being for whom all this is supposed to work for, So can we really start to put that person and figure out how do we make the concept of work inspiring? In some sense, if you see the role of a teacher today is not really to transfer content. I mean, that's already there. But it's about inspiring. It's about making it a phenomenal experience where you feel like coming back. I mean, you look at the number of, you hear on the radio, the number of people who crib about Monday morning. Oh my God, it's a Monday. That's a sign that somewhere I think HR has failed. Why is work so pissing off for most people? It should be something that you look forward to. And that, I think, I mean, all of that, yes, you need people to be hired, paid, and all that stuff.
Yep.
To me, that's really the unimportant piece.
Yep.
Because at the end of it, if the person doesn't really look forward to coming to work, why does HR exist? So I think that, to me, is the more existential question.
Woo! William, get ready to answer that one in a second. Amita, you're going to answer why does HR exist?
So as an HR practitioner myself and listening to all of this, I think we all, and I'm assuming a lot of you are in HR, we have a really long and arduous journey ahead. Okay? And, and I absolutely agree with Krish and Abhijit that we need to get away from transactions being administrative to really, there's so much discussion which happened in the past few decades about becoming business partner. One thing which I really passionately feel now is that we need to bring the balance between business partnering and employee championing. We need to become the employee champion, and we need to ensure that what Abhijit talked about, that people should feel excited about coming to work. One thing which I really think we all need to, and a lot of transaction will get taken away by the machine. So what you will be left to deal with is really the human being at work and their emotions. We need to become more empathetic. We need to learn to handhold this new generation, which is used to not hearing no. We all, people who have kids, you know how you manage your kids. You're giving everything. They are generations which are coming from abundance. They're not used to saying no. They question about, I have a 15-year and a 12-year-old kid. They can't take a direction without being explained why they should do something. Now, how do you manage that generation, and how do you prepare all our managers to manage this generation who can't take, hand-down decisions? They can't just say, go do it. We've all done it in our early life. But today's millennial or the new workforce, how do we, I think as HR, we need to completely shift gears, digitize, innovate, remove whatever is the transactional work. Focus a lot more on how we are going to, strengthen our managers to be able to manage the next generation, workforce, and also become much more, understand that rationale and understand the thinking behind what the new generation thinking. We can't just say, this is the way it happens. One has to be ready to explain why it happens and be ready to change if there's a better solution being suggested by someone else. So I think we have a really, really tough journey, and it has to start first changing our own mindset. That this is the way it has to happen, this is the process, this is a policy, guys, take it or leave it. No, it doesn't work anymore. Explain to me why this policy is and why it should not change. So I think we have a very, very tough journey, more in our own mind, before we change the processes and systems and ways of working.
I definitely don't think it should be an arduous journey, though. Everything I agree that you're saying is spot on, except for this is about to get fun. I mean, the arduous journey has been all the process, the compliance, the lack of transparency, hiding things, not embracing it. The journey is about to be fun.
I think it's going to be fun, but I also think it's going to be frickin' uncomfortable.
I love that.
And I think that's really,
that not fun?
you have to all realize that.
Fun?
You have to decide if you're ready for that.
Absolutely.
So William, by the way, guys, we'll never get to all of these questions. I know our MC wanted to get more questions from the app. There's like 100 already, so I'm never going to get to all of them. But
I'll just take a point. It's arduous because it's the most difficult thing to change oneself.
yeah, oh yeah, no, that's the growth mindset, right?
Yes.
Versus the fixed mindset. So William, the question is, do we need HR in the future? A, and then B, instead of letting the world shape HR, how should we shape it? What do we want it to be? So if you had a blank slate, which I know you're brilliant at, I've watched you do it, design HR of the future.
Sure. Okay, so you already know this. Everyone shut your eyes for a moment. Everyone close your eyes. Y'all up here too. So when you first arrived at the Leela, what did you experience? When you first came into the reception area, what did you smell? When you went to check in, how did they make you feel? Okay? You can open your eyes now. You already know where I'm going. It's a procession. That's all it is. We've not been great at creating joy. And our friends in the retailing and hospitality space have outflanked us because they've been creating joy for customers for a long time. And we have candidates that we have to create joy. We have employees that we need to create joy. And we have alumni that we need to create joy with. And so we have to...
Oh, clap. That's good.
Well, thank you. That's awfully nice. So we have to actually architect these experiences. And we have to think about emotions. And we've got to think about senses. And we've got to actually take people through and develop these processes. And we have to actually think. So why do we need HR? Well, okay, if we're not thinking about it, who is? So there's that, the obvious. We need to actually develop a different skill set so that we can manufacture those experiences. Because those experiences are manufactured. When you walked in, I promise you the Leela has architected that experience. Years and years and years of development have gone into the customer journey. And they've thought about it, and they've refined it, and they've thought about it, and refined it, and thought about it, and refined it, and gotten feedback, refined it, and that's what we have to do. We have to think about all of those people that we interact with, from candidates to employees to alumni, and we have to think about those processions. And we have to architect them like the retailers do and like the hospitality folks do, because they do a great job of creating that customer journey. We need to do that, but we need to think about our candidates and employees and alumni as customers.
So one sec, because I think it's going to come back to what you said. So we live in a world of joy, right?
We better.
Yeah, everyone's happy, beautiful experience, all of that stuff.
Well, you don't go back. You don't go back if there isn't joy.
Right, HR isn't the police anymore, it's the Joy Creation Group.
Should be.
And that's the name. But when we think about that, how do we create business value based on joy? So how do you sell that to a CEO?
Real simple. I mean, it's the retention of customers, right? So how does your favorite retailer or your favorite hotel chain or whatever, how do they create an experience?
And how do you prove it, though?
How do you prove it? because people come back. There's loyalty. Joy creates loyalty. And if you don't create joy, then go elsewhere because there's choice. We can go to another retailer. We can go to another hotel. We can go elsewhere. Well, oh, by the way, so can our candidates. So can our employees. So can our alumni. So our job is to create joy. If we don't create joy, we will not create the retention, and ergo, those people will go elsewhere.
I would think that, so, this whole notion of ROI obsession, I just find it, you want to run a learning experience for the employee. The first question is, what is the ROI? There is no ROI.
Someone should tweet that, ROI obsession.
It's just painful because the moment you sort of look at it, human beings, we are assuming that, they are measured in exactly the same way that we measure machines. This should run for 20 hours, therefore it produces this. Human beings are not like that. I think the whole notion of this ROI obsession has to give way to understanding the qualitative aspect. So, when you talk about joy or happiness, or the fact that I want to come back and I want to give my best and I want to give my best self at the work that I'm doing, and I want to learn more so that I can do an even better job. To me, those are, if you stop getting ROI obsessed, the rest of it will happen. It will come to that. So you will see better employee attraction, retention, all of that. The fact that, the workplace can be a place where I come in to build my expertise and become a better version of myself, the point that you were making back there, I think it's just such a wonderful, phrase. Imagine if you go to a workplace which enables you to become a better version. Why would you not want to go back there? Because you enjoy that whole place.
Well, on the front end, if the organization accepts you, the whole you.
Yeah, as you are,
meets you where you are, and accepts you as you are, and then wants the best version of you while you're there, why would you ever leave that experience?
And therefore, this whole notion of, from the time that the person has come in, you kind of start measuring everything numerically. And I think it's like completely misses the point, because when you're measuring employee engagement, you measure it numerically. I mean, first of all, this notion of engagement itself, I have deep disconnect with. But when you're looking at, if we start creating, what is the measure, when you put, 7 lights, what is the ROI on that? It just creates a better lighting experience. So you can, of course, have one single candle flame here and, you can't see anything. Now, can you go through that conference with it? Yes, you can. But, what is the ROI of putting the 6th one and the 12th one and that? So I think, when you look at hospitality and those places, they do not look at this as a measurement process.
Right. So I want to so Amita, I want you to talk about this, because we were talking in the hall about your organization and Disney. And Disney's known as an organization, or as a place that creates joy and experience. We don't
I'm a complete fan of the Disney model. Pixar.
So we don't measure the ROI necessarily on that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. But if you could just one little piece of it, you're being tasked to merge organizations. Merge 2 organizations that probably have a little bit different cultures, different styles. So for all of the people that are tweeting to me, or not tweeting, but putting questions in here saying, is Siri going to replace HR? Which, by the way, I would love to talk about that, but maybe if someone invites me to drinks tonight, I will. But for you, Siri's not going to do what you're about to do. So I would love your thoughts on this whole process.
I don't think at this point of time I should talk about Disney and 21CF, because the whole transaction still is in the process. But let's talk about...
Conceptually.
Yeah. When 2 organizations merge, the biggest thing which, all the other stuff, data, compensation, benefit systems, policies, all that are really things which will get sorted. The one thing which is extremely important is really about culture.
Yep.
And how do you really kind of embrace each other's culture and take the best from it and make it better. That, I think, when it comes to any organization, and it's true for any organization, any 2 organization coming together. But when we are talking about experience, I know I've been really thinking about it. So most of our employees and all of us are used to using, technology with best of the experiences. So today when we use an Amazon app and when we use an Uber app, all of that are so simple, it's so intuitive, so easy to use. And then so same employee group, our employees are also using similar apps as what is available across, and it's become now global. So everybody in any country, any organization using the same app. But when it comes to making our own employees use, we ask them to use pretty drab, boring, complex applications in HR, okay? So, I don't understand how can we ask the same set of people who are used to really best-in-class applications to say now come and use an e-claim system or an HRMIS system, which is very cumbersome. So I think really we in HR need to bring in a lot more design thinking, a lot more making things simple, not make people fill 20 and 2,000 forms. And how do we, so one really about bringing joy, bringing experience is about completely changing our own mindset and about bringing a lot of design thinking and innovation in our own applications. And I was really happy to see some of them displayed here. But really end to end, how do we completely bring a very delightful experience in all the technology we use in HR?
Yeah, no, completely agree. And I think that one of the things that's really interesting about this whole discussion, and Chris, I'd love for you to comment on this, is, and one of the questions that came in is, how does this all pan out for small yet skilled firms? And I think a lot of people think, oh, these are big companies up on stage, so we can't do any of that. Or maybe we shouldn't do that. And that's wrong. I think that the same thing applies based on size. We just have to think about how do we allocate resource. But I'd love for you to comment on that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about filling a need. I mean, you can walk downstairs and see all the startups, or you walk the floors, and everybody's filling a need, big and small, right? I mean, so there's, you're scaling, or maybe you're filling more needs the bigger the company gets. But I think we talk a lot about ROI, we talk a lot about measurements, but we're not talking as much about outcomes. And I think all of those things come when we're talking about outcomes. And outcomes are filling a need. And I love talking about design thinking and things like that, because it's at the root of it, it's how do you fill a need? How are you taking somebody's pain away? That's what design thinking helps you do. So the scale, I don't think people should worry about that. There are plenty of needs to be filled. And that's where joy comes from, right? That's where experience comes from. When you're helping somebody, when you're taking somebody's pain away, and that should be the outcomes that people are focused on instead of just ROI. To your point, that comes, right? But we have to fill that need. And I think when we're focusing on that, people will gravitate towards it. As I walk these floors and I think, wow, that's a need somebody's filling, like, I'm drawn to that. We get excited about it. That's why we use an app. It's not just about the iPhone, it's apps on the iPhone. They're helping us do whatever it is we need to do.
So a lot of us are building business cases. Now, this question is for Abhijit, but I want to make sure that we all get a chance to answer it. It just came in. It's back to how can HR get away with not being obsessed with ROI and other metrics? And just really quickly, the work we do, we use a term VOI, and some of you have heard of this: value of investment versus return on investment. And I think it's really important to think about those two things. But I'd love for you guys to comment, because there's a lot of people here trying to create business cases who are trying to think about ROI, yet we're trying to not save money, we're trying to generate revenue for the organization. So I'd love your thoughts on that.
So quick thing that, if you really start measuring, and many of the things as they are moving towards experiences and all of that, I mean, they need to be measured in a completely different way. So if you, for example, when you go into different hotels, you actually experience a very different, it could be the same 5-star hotel or something, you will experience a very different kind of hospitality. And that actually is, where I'm going. So I'll just take one example and pass it on to the others. So for example, when you look at the moment you start thinking of return on investment, let's say on learning, you're missing the whole point, because learning means that you're going to tell this person, these are the 2 courses that you do so that you can do your job better, so that I can make more money. At the end of it, if the person has curiosity, you encourage the person to be curious, and learn a lot more stuff by themselves, you will actually get back a lot more. You will not need to get obsessed about this whole thing. So I think the opportunity really lies in being able to understand qualitatives. And there are tons and tons of measures on qualitatives. I think work is moving from being more cognitive into more of the emotion, heart, affective field. And they need to be measured with a very different set of measures. And that is the point. I'm happy to sort of get into more details on a separate conversation after the thing.
Amita?
Yeah, absolutely agree. There are some areas where you will have to show, you can show return on investment, but in other areas you have to really show, it may be not for the company, but what is it for the person and for the individual, and how it's going to make
Why did we do it?
Yeah, absolutely. And really, in terms of, actually we have, because we have been wanting to just become so, we've just shifted the needle so much towards business partnering that every action we want to show as a business. We don't need to, honestly. I don't think, organizations, and we need to kind of really sensitize leaders that not everything which you will do in HR will always show you value, here and now. It is something which, some of the investments will show you value many more years later. Some of the investment will have values which are just can't be measured, but it has huge impact on the way it impacts the consumer at the end. So really that's the way we should start sensitizing, because it's us who have started bringing the whole business orientation and ROI into everything which we do.
Yep.
We need to now start talking a different language to bring the VOI.
So as you guys are both talking, everyone's typing in, so what should we measure? So what should we measure? So what should we measure? Like it's all fun and games that you guys are talking about, we need to change, but they're saying, what should we measure? So William, would you mind taking that and completing that thought?
Sure, it's just like the retention of customers. It's the retention of talent. So the first conversation you have to have with your leadership is you have to say talent's changed. We can't manage talent the same way that we managed talent before, period, end story. So the ways and means that we've been taught to go about HR are outdated. And it's just like what we talked about with apps, then being intuitive. The other side of that is if we don't like an app, we X out of it or delete it. That's the employee experience, by the way. So we've got to explain that to leadership. And I'll give it to you as simply as I can. If you can't change the situation, you have to change your situation. Which means that either your leadership team is going to get it or they're not. And if they don't get it, it's an IQ test. Move on. Go elsewhere. Right? For me, it's that simple. It's like the legalization of marijuana in the U.S. It's an IQ test. It's the same IQ test.
I don't know where that came from.
Well, smoking, So, just kidding. I would not break Indian law.
It explains the shoes.
No.
Sorry.
I think the thing is you have to have an open discourse with your leadership team and explain to them how the game has changed. Okay, that's one thing. Now, they're going to ask you and pepper you with a bunch of questions about how the game has changed. Okay, explain that to them. Explain it twice. Explain it 3 times. And then after that, if they can't get it or don't want to get it or want you to use outdated tools that don't work, go elsewhere. Take your talents elsewhere. It's that simple for me.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we don't, Chris, I'm going to end with our last question, but I think a lot of times we in HR, people don't know what we can bring to the table. I think that's really important to understand. We've been bringing HR stuff to the table. People don't, I see that 0, thank you. People don't know that we have the opportunity to actually bring more to the table, and I think that's huge. So, Chris.
The human part of this is a massive part of the equation.
Yep.
So measurement is the same thing you're measuring the success of a business.
Yep.
The human part of it, so for those asking about measurement, however you're measuring customer satisfaction, however you're measuring all of those things, those are your measurements. But it's not, a measurement is telling you if you're going the right direction, but you have to keep improving on that. So don't be about the measurement, be about creating that value. As HR, it's the human part of it.
So we're going to do rapid fire.
And that's
Chris,
what we do.
one word that scares you. What scares you about the industry?
Bureaucracy, inertia. 2 words.
What are you optimistic about?
Just us getting it.
Us.
Us,
Okay.
humans.
William, what scares you?
The change is moving faster than we can consume it.
What are you optimistic about?
These people right here.
He gets more words.
It's Friday. It's Friday, and these folks are here at 10 o'clock in the morning to hear us or whatever. So why am I optimistic? I'm optimistic because there's a bunch of people looking at me right now, and I love that. And I think that's what I'm optimistic.
You don't know why they're looking at you. Amita, what are you scared about?
I'm scared about loss of human touch.
Losing the human touch.
Yes.
Okay. What are you optimistic about?
The energy in the space, energy in the room, energy in this whole conference. I think we all are really open to change. So that I'm most optimistic about.
Brilliant. Ajit?
I think tech is going to be the, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva of, jobs. So which means some jobs will get nurtured, some will get created.
That's what you're scared about?
Some will get destroyed.
Okay.
And if we don't solve it, I think the social problem of it is what I get scared about.
Okay.
What am I optimistic about is I think, we will find when humans have been pushed to the wall, we have found enormous solutions. So I think to the point that it set me thinking, what do you measure? I think I would measure growth of expertise in the organization as a measure instead of training days, etc., whatever outdated measures we are using right now.
Yeah, I think what's most important to take away from this whole panel is that there's, as I said yesterday or 2 days ago when I kicked off, I think.
Hold on. Wait a minute. You answer the question.
What am I
What
most
are you scared about?
I'm most scared about people buying technology and thinking it's going to solve the human problem.
Why are you optimistic?
I'm optimistic about the future worker coming into the workplace that's coming in with passion, optimism, and that doesn't actually understand the fact that status quo exists. Okay, so I wasn't planning on doing that.
I know.
Back to my closing. As I said yesterday, or 2 days ago, I truly believe that this is why, if you think about the title of my session, that this is the most exciting time to be in this space. And I truly think that we're dealing with this inflection of, people are ready. Processes can be ready if we break them. Technology is more than ready. The question is, are we ready? And I think that going forward at all of these events, our job is to make sure that we continue to do whatever we can to make sure we're ready. HR is going to exist. For everyone that's asking, is Siri going to replace HR? It's not going to happen, okay? Siri is going to replace things that are repeatable, or what we call RAD, repeatable, auditable, and documented. Siri is going to replace those things, and it's going to put HR in a better position than ever to finally be strategic. I want you guys to give the panel a big round of applause. Thank you very much.
And I want you guys to applaud for Jason. Jason, thank you for moderating that fantastic panel. Ladies and gentlemen, William, Abhijit, Amita, and Chris.